Hello students, welcome back. So my name is Rinki Shah and in today's topic we're going to study very interesting topic which is of today's concern cause of the pandemic, something which is very important for every human being, and that is going to actually decide, and there are so many medications, okay, there are so many ways by which they keep telling that you should boost your what, you should keep boosting your immunity to actually survive the infection, right? So what exactly is immunity? Let's discuss on that. What exactly is immunity? So immunity, okay, let me write down. Immunity, okay, is actually derived from, as you know, in biology all the words which are there are actually referred, okay, are derived from what? Latin language. So immunity is derived from the Latin word which means what? Immunis. What does it mean? Immunis, okay. And the word immunis means what? Exempt. What does it mean? Exempt, okay. Now, exempt from what? Exempt from any kind of public services, all right? So basically, it is a ability, all right? In simple words, it's basically an ability of an individual, okay? Ability of an individual to resist a disease, okay? To an ability of an individual to resist a disease is called as what? Immunity, all right? And the other is potential of an individual to actually what? Isolate, identify, and what? Destroy the pathogen. That is called as what? Immunity. All right. So as we just started, immunity is derived from the word immunis, which means what? Exempt, and it is an ability to resist what? A disease. Isolate, identify, and destroy the pathogen. Okay. Now remember, okay, there are two kinds of immunity which any organism, which us as individuals have. One, something which is there right within you since your birth, all right, okay, and that kind of immunity, all right, which is there is called as what? Innate immunity. That immunity which is there is called as what? Innate immunity. Now innate immunity which is there, okay, so we have two kinds of immunity. First one which is there is called as what? Innate immunity. What is innate? It is the immunity which is what? Present since birth, okay. And the other immunity which is there, okay, that is something which you acquire over a period of time, that is called as what? Acquired immunity. So the two immunities which are there are what? Innate immunity, and the other one which is there is called as what? Acquired immunity. And whenever you study about immunity, the phenomenon, all right, of immunity, all right, allergy, that study, that science is called as what? Immunology, right? Now, remember, innate which is there, okay, generally which is natural immunity is known now. When we are going to study in detail, okay, so we are going to study further, okay, and in the further what we are going to study is that, remember, the immunity which is there, in which it is innate, okay, and the other one which we have is what? Something which you acquire, that is called as what? Acquired immunity. Now innate immunity, now let me give you an example. For example, you maybe have inhaled a pollen grain, all right, or maybe you have inhaled some dust. So what is your general body mechanism? Your general body mechanism will be what? To actually what? Sneeze, right? Or you're going to sneeze, right? So innate immunity, maybe if it is a pathogen which enters your body, maybe some bacteria or some virus, okay, which is entering your nose trap, or it's some kind of a pollen, or probably see some kind of a dust. Anything, when it enters your general body, what it is going to be, you're going to do what? You're going to just sneeze in the same manner, whether it is dust, whether it is pollen, or it is pathogen. What is the general way? What is going to happen is you are going to what? Sneeze, right? So In such a case, okay, in innate immunity, remember, okay, whenever anything enters, you tend to sneeze. So it is not going to be specific, okay. So there is no specificity, okay. It is no like, okay, it's not like that you know, when you are going to something, you're going to inhale on pollen grain, you're going to sneeze separately in some specific way. And if you're going to inhale, like, you know, for example, dust, you're going to sneeze in some other manner. It is just non-specific, okay. So there's no specificity. That is a characteristic of innate. Apart from that, there is no diversity, okay. When it comes to innate immunity, whatever could be the reason, okay, your body will just act like that. Anything enters, the mucus inside will trap it, okay. So there's no diversity in it. And remember, other thing is, your body is not really exactly going to remember, oh, what exactly was the pollen structure which entered your body, or what was the exact bacterial structure which entered, okay, inside your nose lining. So there's no memory way by which your body is going to remember. So these are the three main characteristics when it comes to what innate immunity, where there is no specificity, there is no diversity, and what, there is no memory. And something which is very peculiar, all right, between the innate and the acquired is that your body, whether it is innate and acquired, they have a potential, okay, to distinguish, very important term, okay, they can distinguish whether it is your own body cells or it is some foreign body cell, okay, some foreign pathogen which has entered, okay. So it is able to distinguish between self and non-self, okay. It is able to what, distinguish between what, self and what, non-self, all right. So that is the major characteristic, whether it is innate or acquired, all right. Now going further in today's part, we'll first focus more on innate immunity, and after that we'll go on to what, acquired immunity, all right. So let's get started. Now coming to innate immunity, okay. When it comes to innate immunity, you have various kinds of barriers, okay, which actually play a role when it comes to your innate immunity. The first one which is there, okay, that is nothing but what, which is running right across your body, and which are your physical barriers, okay. And your physical barriers, what you have is, the first one which is there is what, skin, okay. Now, skin is basically a physical barrier, the outer tough layer, all right, that basically prevents, all right, the entry of what, any bacteria and viruses. So that's a physical barrier. Apart from that, right, what you're discussing about, which is right present in your nose, all right, it is present, okay, across, and that is a physical barrier, okay, which traps the dust particles, that is mucus, right. So mucus which is there, is secreted by a mucous membrane, and it traps what, the microbes, the pathogens, all right, in your body which enters, all right. So it acts as what, a physical barrier. So what you have, your skin, the mucus. Can you think of any other physical barriers? Yes, your hair, okay, the hair which are present in the nostril, that also will act as what, a physical barrier, all right. So all of this which is there, which we have discussed, are nothing but what, your physical barriers, right. Further, what we have, okay, and in the innate immunity, what we have is physiological barriers, okay, physiological barriers. Now, in physiological barriers, what you have is, right, if anything enters through your mouth, through your food, okay, any foodborne or waterborne disease, okay, pathogen which enters, what is going to actually attack them is nothing but the acid in your body, okay, that is nothing but HCl, right? The hydrochloric acid which is present in your stomach is actually going to kill what, all the pathogens which are present, which are going to enter via the food, all right. So that is going to be what, the physiological barrier, fine. Apart from that, okay, what you have, okay, apart from that, remember, even your in your ears, all right, even in your ears, okay, you have not something called as what, ear wax, okay, which is nothing but called as what, cerumen, okay. Now, this are nothing but they kill, okay, any kind of pathogen, any kind of dust, okay, which enters where inside your ears. That ear wax is going to do the work of what? Killing it. All right. We have already discussed about nasal hair, which is present in what? In your physical barrier. Even your sweat, which is there, okay, your sweat, which is there, is also forming what? A protective, okay, acid film over your skin, which inhibits the growth of what? Any kind of bacteria. All right. So that is also a physiological barrier. Okay. So we have discussed physical barriers. We've even discussed about what? Physiological barriers. Okay. Apart from that, what we have, okay, something which are present everywhere in your body, and they are your cells, right? So you have your cellular barriers, okay. They are cellular barriers. Now, cellular barriers which are there, which is present in your blood cells, okay, the most common among them which you've studied since school, that is your white blood cells, okay. The white blood cells which are there, okay, they are going to what? Do the role of what? Phagocytosis. What are they going to do? They are going to do the work of what? Phagocytosis. Fine. So they will actually what? Engulf whatever kind of cells come in, right? Now, you know, for example, of the Kupffer cells, okay, let's know, you will have sure you've discussed this in your other chapters. Kupffer cells which are there, okay, in the liver, okay, they also are the ones which are actually nothing but what? They are basically macrophages, which are going to kill any kind of pathogen. In your brain, there's something called glial cells, okay. So in the brain, what you have is what? Glial cells, okay. So microglial cells in your brain, they also nothing but are responsible for what? For phagocytosis, okay. So they are the ones which are nothing but doing the work of what? Killing, okay. Apart from that, what you have, okay, they are the ones which are actually present, okay, apart from phagocytes, okay, there are some cells which are actually type of lymphocytes, okay. I'm sure you've heard of lymphocytes which are present in your blood. They are actually what? Lymphocytes which are present in your blood, and they're known as natural killer cells, okay. What are they known as? Natural killer cells. We're going to discuss about this natural killer cells later in the remaining part of immunity. But I'll just tell you this natural killer cells which are there, they're present in your spleen, in your lymph nodes, okay, in your red bone marrow. And what do? They actually release what? They release what? Perforin. Perfors means what? You know, they actually lyse. They will make what? Holes inside probably the cell wall, all right, or the cell membrane of the pathogen, and because of it the pathogen gets what? Killed. So basically what does it do? It basically makes the pathogen weak by perforating its cell wall or the cell membrane, okay. So we're going to discuss more about it later, okay. Further, apart from cellular barriers, okay, the fourth kind of barriers, okay, the fourth kind of cells which are going to play a role, all right, in your innate immunity are cytokine barriers. What are they known as? Cytokine barriers, okay. Now, when it comes to cytokine barriers, cytokines, okay, cytokines are basically chemical messengers, all right, of your immune cells. Now, remember, they are the ones, okay, which are involved, okay, in cell-to-cell communication. Now, what exactly happens in this cytokine barriers? Let's discuss further on that. Now, what happens is, the cytokine barriers which are there, okay, they basically release, okay, something called as interferons, okay. So I am going to write here, okay. We have something called as interferons, okay. There's something called as what? Interferons. Now, what exactly is the role of this interferons? Let me explain you in a very simple term what are interferons. So remember, now for example, virus, something which is we are discussing a lot in this pandemic about, okay, what does this interferons do? They're actually, when it comes to it, they are glyco proteins, okay. Now, if your body, natural cells which are there, your body's natural cells, all right, they get infected by what? The virus, okay. So these interferons which are there, they are the ones, how are they produced? Who produces it? By your so For example, your cell, body cell which is there, is infected by the virus. So that body cell of yours which is infected by the virus, they produce this glycoproteins which are known as what? Interferons. Okay, so they are produced by what? They are produced by what? Infected cells. Okay, they're produced by what? The infected cells. Okay, okay, the cells which are infected by the virus. So what is the role of it? Okay, let me tell you. They are going to be what? Antiviral. Now your body cells which are infected, they have released this, and they're going to be what? Antiviral proteins. And since they're going to be antiviral proteins, what happens is they will make the other body cells, okay, which are not infected, they will make them what? Resistant towards that virus. I hope you have understood what exactly happens is your body's immune cells, or in general, your body cells, which are infected by the virus, they release, okay, they produce this glycoproteins which are known as interferons. Okay, so your own body cells are producing these interferons which are infected by the virus, so that the other cells around which are not infected, okay, which are not infected, becomes what? Resistant to virus. Okay, they are known as what? Interferons or glycoproteins are nothing but what? Cytokine barriers. They're basically what? Chemical messengers of your immune cells. They basically do the work of what? Cell to cell communication. Now, how are these interferons doing cell to cell communication? They will see to it that the cells of your body which are not infected, okay, they become resistant towards that virus. That's how they are sending their communication, by releasing what? Glycoproteins or interferons. So which are the four barriers of innate immunity? Physical barriers, physiological barriers, cellular barriers, and we've discussed what are cytokine barriers. All the four which we have discussed are what? Nothing but types of innate immunity. Fine. Now let's look at a PowerPoint which is associated with our topic. Okay. So now immunity. So it is the ability of your immune system, okay, to fight the disease causing organism. Immunity, something which is right since your birth. Inborn immunity is innate immunity, and the other is what? Acquired, which is what? Adaptive immunity. Fine. Innate immunity which is there, remember, they're non-specific. I told you, no matter whatever enters, you're going to sneeze. Your way of sneezing is not going to be different whether you inhale pollen or you inhale pathogen or you inhale dust. You are just going to sneeze. It is a non-specific defense present at the time of birth. It provides barriers to the entry of foreign agents into our body. Barriers are of four types: physical barriers, physiological barriers, cellular barriers, and cytokine barriers. So they're the first line of defense. Okay. Coming to first one, skin prevents entry of what? Foreign particles, right? Traps the foreign particles. You can see that, okay, that it on the top itself, it will see to it that their skin act as a barrier. Okay. Then you have the mucus, which is there in the lining of your GI tract, your urinogenital tract, your respiratory tract, to what? Trap the pathogen. All right. So on the top, what you see is the mucous membrane, which secretes what? Mucus. Okay. Apart from that, what you have, which prevent, which have, you have your microbial, your physiological barriers, okay, which prevents your microbial growth. It increases your hydrochloric acid. Okay, I discussed with you that your ear wax. Apart from that, in your mouth when you enter, okay, what enzyme is present? Salivary amylase. So saliva also helps to kill the pathogens. Your tears, okay, tears also are the ones which actually are what? They are actually going to act as what? Barriers. Okay, so these are what? Your physiological barriers which are there. Okay, apart from that, further what we are going to discuss, okay, we have discussed cellular barriers, that is your phagocytes, like white blood cells. White blood cells, neutrophils. I hope there's neutrophils. monocytes, okay, this all are your white blood cells. I'm sure you've done this in circulation. Macrophages, okay, macrophages are the ones which engulf, okay, and polymorphonuclear leukocytes. Now why we're going to discuss all this in further detail, just I'll tell you what is it. PMNL, morpho means what, it has more different structures, okay. Morpho means many. Morpho basically means what, structure, right? Morphology of plants you have done. So morpho means what, structure. Since it has many different structures, so it is known as what, polymorphonuclear leukocytes, PMNL. Monocytes, we're going to discuss about natural killer cells. I just mentioned you that they release perforins and they, basically make pores in the cell wall or the membrane of the pathogen. And macrophages, all of that which are there are what, cellular barriers, which we're going to discuss further in detail. Cytokine barriers, as I told you, for example, if this is your body cell, okay, which is infected by what, by the virus. So what does this cell do, what does your body cell do? It releases what, a glycoprotein, which is known as what, interferon. And what does it do? It protects what, the non-infected cells from what, further viral infection. This is, they are called as what, cytokine barriers. So four, we have studied the four barriers which are present in what, your innate immunity, right? Now, further what we're going to discuss, okay, ahead after this is the second immunity, which is actually we discuss a lot in this COVID time, which is what, your acquired immunity or adaptive immunity, all right, which we will be discussing in the next lecture. I hope you have understood what is innate immunity and the four kind of barriers, all right, which are present, which make up what, your innate immunity. Thank you.